Hey everyone, this is a stock 2022 Badlands Sasquatch Bronco, and this is a 37-inch Mickey Thompson tires. We're gonna put this on this, see what rubs, and cut anything that does. Stay tuned. All right, so before we really dig into this, I want to explain why we're making this video. The most common question you'll see on any forum, Facebook group, Instagram post is what size lift to fit what size tires. It's over here, here, here. See, it's everywhere. So what I want to express is if your goal is to go off-road, a lift does not actually let you fit a bigger tire. I'll say that again. A lift does not let you fit bigger tires. On most 4x4s on the road with independent front suspension, double wishbone, the limiting factor on your tire size is wheel well clearance, not a lift. I'm going to put these tires on the stock Sasquatch suspension and see what rubs. This is a 37-12-50-17 Mickey Thompson Baja Boss mud terrain. It measures 36.8 inches tall, and it's actually 13 inches wide. And it's on a 17x9 Mayhem wheel with a -6 offset. So it's gonna stick out on either side more than these stock Sasquatch wheels. If you came just to see where a 37 rubs, feel free to skip ahead. But for you guys new to off-roading, I think this is really good information for you, understanding how your suspension works, and that'll give you a base to kind of build the Bronco that you want to build, or any IFS truck, Toyotas, Fords, anything. So stick around. We're gonna go inside real quick, just a quick explanation, then we'll come back outside and get these tires on. All right, so here we have two kind of rudimentary models of what the front IFS suspension looks like. And this is gonna be the driver's side front tire. So right here we have the front view. We have the upper fender here. Of course, this is the tire. We have an upper control arm, a lower control arm, and this is like the engine, the body, everything else here. And then over here we have a top view. And so if you imagine this, the front view, and we turn it up like this, overlay it. So that's what that looks like. So we have the front bumper. This is like the cab area. We have the engine over here. And then you can imagine this is the upper control arm or the lower control arm. They're stacked on top of each other. So we're just going to model it with just one of those. Okay, so here on the front view, I've marked a couple different positions. This line here, B, right in the middle, that's going to be our static ride height, completely stock. And then as we start to move in suspension travel, as we go off-road, we start to flex over rocks, we will go up to A. A is the upper limit set by the factory suspension that will prevent this 35-inch tire, the stock tire, from hitting the upper fender. Okay, and so when it'll go down, up, but it won't go past A on the factory settings. Okay, now let's take a look at over here and look what happens when we turn our tire. Just at ride height, we turn it here, and we won't have any problems hitting anything in that wheel well. So we want to upgrade to a 37-inch tire. Everyone says that's the size on these Broncos. 37-inch tires is where you want to be at. Well, let's do that. Let's, without changing anything else, let's put on a larger tire. So obviously this isn't to scale, it's a simple model, but we're just kind of going over some basic fundamentals of suspension geometry, okay? So now we have our bigger tire on, and I think you can probably start to see immediately some problems with this. Here we are, we're still at ride height at level B, and looks fine. If you're just street driving, might not have any problems. But as soon as you start to flex off-road or go over rocks or maybe even hit a pothole, and you go up, you're going to hit your upper fender before you max out your bump stop, before you hit your bump stop. So this is going to cause problems. Okay. And let's continue looking at this front view. and they say, okay, well, if you want to run a 37-inch tire, you add a 2-inch lift. If you add a 2-inch lift, that's what you need to run a 37. Okay, so let's go down to C. So let's put on our lift. We keep the same length arms, but we make a coilover longer, or we add a spacer or something. So now our ride height's at C. But we haven't changed our bump stop. We haven't changed any of our geometry fundamentally. This looks fine again. Okay, we hit a bump on the road, goes up a little bit, no problems. But when we want to do some serious off-roading and we go and start flexing on rocks, we again hit the upper fender because we haven't addressed these travel limits. Not only that, but we are potentially putting more stress on these components. Everything is designed to be in line, or as close to in line as possible. Your tie rods, your steering, your control arms, your ball joints, things like that. So we are putting more stress by adding this lift. Okay, so that's not going to work. But let's look at our turning radius. This is what we're addressing in this video to start. We'll address this travel hitting the upper fender later, but what I want to focus on is this lift, this 2-inch lift, doesn't really help you fit the bigger tire. And so if we look at the top view and we're trying to turn, this is just at ride height, we're going to hit the fender well. Just at ride height. Well, if we add a lift, the tire kind of comes down, you know, it goes from here to here. So the wheel well does have a little more opening, but again, once we're at full bump, once we're hitting these travel limits, we still have the same problem. Our tire cannot turn at full flex. So the only way to solve that, it's not a lift, it's cutting, it's trimming, it's getting rid of what's hitting your tire to allow this tire to have more articulation. So that's what we're doing. We're going to use our JKS kit. We're going to remove some space in the front, remove some space in the rear, and that'll free up our tire from turning. And if it could turn at stock ride height, then when we lift it, we know it'll work. And once we lift it, if we're at full bump or if we're flexing and we can turn it, then we're going to be a lot safer and less likely to damage components. All right, there she is on the ground. These tires look great, and they poke out just enough, just that 36 millimeters. So I'm gonna hop in. We're gonna turn the wheels lock to lock on flat ground, see what we hit. All right, so this is the stock crash bar, and on the Sasquatch package, they actually pre-remove the outer horn. This actually would come out further on non-Sasquatch Broncos. So they kind of did some clearancing, but not enough for these 37s. So here we are full lock on driver's side, and it just barely misses. But like I was saying, you have to clearance for full bump. So once this tire goes up, it's going to start eating into this wheel well, which means we have to clearance the back of the wheel well as well. Fortunately, I knew that this was going to be an issue, and I came prepared. I already have a JKS Max Tire Clearance Kit that's going to swap out the front crash bars and pull the fender liner back just a little bit, and hopefully that'll give us enough room to clear these tires. All right, so this is the JKS kit. There's 2 brackets here that's going to pull the this fender liner back, and then these are basically body mount replacements. So I'm not going to go over the whole install because JKS has a really good video of that themselves. Just go watch that one. But we're going to cut those off, put these ones on, and once we have that max tire clearance, we'll actually go outside, put this on the forklift, see what rubs in the front and the back. Since you're going to point the bumper out. Pulls off. Okay. Side one is done. Front bracket is in. We ended up cutting out this rear body mount. It didn't rub, but it might have at full bump, so that was part of the instructions. These are the new brackets, replaces this big chunky piece of plastic, and now we have a lot of room. The other side installs pretty much the same, so we're just going to use a little video magic and cut to when we're done. So all the brackets are in, the fender liners are in. We're going to put the skid plate and the bumper back on, put the wheels on, then we're going to take it back outside, throw it on the forklift, and see, now that we have this high clearance kit, if we still rub anywhere with these 37s. All right, 37s are on. Let's get the forklift under these tires, see what rubs at full bump. All right, so we got the rear driver lifted as high as we felt comfortable going without ripping this fender off. So that's about full stuff there. Take a look. Looks like it's gonna clear our bumper. I can get my hand in there. It'll clear the slider. Maybe at not full turn, we gotta turn these wheels. But what I think I'll do is I'm gonna pull this fender off, see if that helps. And then let's take a look at the rear. So we actually do have quite a bit of room all around. I don't think we'll have any problem with, actually it's getting real close right here. So it looks like in this rear wheel well, as long as we bump the up travel so it doesn't hit the top of the fender, this might be the only thing that we are concerned about. This little piece of plastic, I think I'm just gonna chop that off. Doesn't look like it's doing much. Maybe giving some protection to this wire harness here, but that should be no problem. I feel comfortable doing that. So that, yeah, rear is good. really impressed by how easily you can fit 37s on this thing. All right, so we don't really gain any more clearance by pulling the fenders off, but we can more easily see into the wheel well where we need to trim, if at all. All right, well, let's see what we can infer. That's about how much we can turn. Maybe if I lowered it or raised it by lowering the rear, we'll get a little more space and I could get these a little more lock to lock. So this is the factory Sasquatch slider. It looks like it's not going to clear. The only reason it's not touching right now is the strategically placed lug on the tire. And we're definitely into the liner here. Just kind of peeking through there. I think even at full lock, we're not going to hit the frame. All right, so other way. We are again into the fender well. Looks like it clears the bumper. Maybe I'll turn it back just to see about this edge. Well, what you could do is this is the modular steel bumper. If this was an issue, we can just unbolt these and pull it off. Might do that anyway until we get the icon bumper on. All right, so there we go. That's what 37s look like on a stock Sasquatch Bronco with no lift. If you want to run 37s, it's gonna be a lot of work to clearance these, make sure they work if you're planning to go off-road. If you're just street driving, you want a cool rig, you know, you could try it, just don't go over any big potholes. Or look into other spacer, other lift options like maybe a drop bracket, perch collar, or a body lift. That gets some of the clearance issues out of the way. So I got some thinking to do. I'm not really sure what the path forward is to be able to make sure that this thing is going to be capable off-road with these tires. We do have an Icon Stage 5 lift. I said that lift doesn't help you fit bigger tires, but it does improve performance off-road. And this particular lift I purchased with a spacer on top that will limit the up travel somewhat. That will keep the tires from hitting the top of the fender, and we'll see how much that helps. There's also the option of going to like an ADV fiberglass fender, which opens up the wheel well, gives you more clearance there. So there's things you can do to make sure that it works, but we want to make sure that this isn't just a show vehicle. It's got to work off-road, Rubicon, all our local trails, Moab. So stay tuned for when we install the lift kit. We'll show you again how that helps, how it doesn't help. And then we're going to do bumpers, electrical system, whole 9 yards. It's going to be a true Rocklander. Stay tuned, subscribe, and let us know what size tires you think you're going to run on your Bronco, knowing this new information.